We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. Iran says it wouldn't need to retaliate if United Nations had condemned a strike on Damascus, asserts it won't be hasty. US speaks to Turkey, China, Saudi Arabia on avoiding escalation in West Asia. Israel says prepared and on high alert. Major Russian airstrikes destroy Ukraine's energy system, Putin says had to attack in response to Kyiv strikes. IAEA chief says Zaporizhzhia attack risk shift in Ukraine conflict. And O.J. Simpson, the controversial American sports figure, dies of cancer at 76. Football star was acquitted of killing his former wife and friend in a 1995 case dubbed as Trial of the Century. And Russia and Kazakhstan continue to battle record floods as rivers rise further, while wildfires create havoc across Guatemala. In India, Prime Minister reviews preparedness for heat wave related situation. Well, on to the details now. As tensions in West Asia escalates, Tehran's envoy to the UN claims that if the UN Security Council had denounced the attack, the imperative for Iran to retaliate for it on its own diplomatic compound in Damascus may have been averted. Though Iran has signaled to Washington that it will not act impulsively in response to Israel's attack on its Syrian embassy, Iran will instead attempt to prevent a significant escalation as Tehran presses demands, including a Gaza truce. Reportedly, Iran's message to Washington was conveyed by Iranian Foreign Minister during a visit on Sunday to the Gulf Arab state of Oman, which has often acted as an intermediary between Tehran and Washington. The diplomatic messaging points to a conscious approach by Iran as it weighs how to respond to the April 1st attack in a way that deters Israel from further such actions but avoids a military escalation that could suck in the United States. Meanwhile, Israel said it has been bracing for possible Iranian retaliation for the killing of a senior general and 6 other Iranian officers in an airstrike in Damascus on the 1st of April.
We are prepared both defensively and offensively in a variety of capacities of the army. An attack from Iran's territory will be solid proof of Iran's intention to escalate in the Middle East and stop hiding behind its proxies.
Well, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has engaged in talks with his Turkish, Chinese and Saudi Arabian counterparts amid concerns that Iran will strike Israel in retaliation for a strike in Damascus. During the talks, the U.S. has expressed his concern towards the tensions in West Asia and made clear that escalation in the region is not in anyone's interest.
Calls to announce, but we have been engaged in a series of contacts, not just at his level, but at other levels too, to talk to foreign counterparts to send this very clear message to Iran that they should not escalate this conflict. We continue to be concerned about the risk of escalation in the Middle East, something we have been working to mitigate and contain since the attacks of October 7th, and specifically about the threats made in recent days by Iran against the state of Israel and the Israeli people.
While White House affirmed the U.S. ironclad commitment to Israel's security and asserted that U.S. was not involved in the Damascus strike.
We've been very clear about that. And we've been very clear that to Iran that we're not involved in the Damascus strike, right? We've been also very clear. I'm not going to get into public back and forth. We communicated to Iran that the U.S. had no involvement in the strike.
Well, killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh's sons on Wednesday has risked complicating efforts to free hostages still in Gaza, although Hamas clarified that they keep the interest of the Palestinian people ahead of everything. Meanwhile, Israel is adding new crossing points to boost the delivery of aid brought in overland from Jordan to Israel's east. Alex Cardia tells us more from Tel Aviv.
Well, that strike, which killed 3 sons of Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas political leader, was decided on without consulting the Prime Minister, the Defense Minister, or senior IDF commanders. In fact, the decision to strike was made on the ground level by field commanders. We understand they saw it as a tactical decision based on intelligence by Shin Bet, the security agency. They say the 3 men were going to conduct acts of terror in central Gaza. No details on what those acts would have been. No response on the allegations that 4 of Ismail Haniyeh's grandchildren were also killed in the strike. And now Ismail Haniyeh has said that Israel is delusional if it thinks that targeting his sons will soften Hamas's position in those tense and ongoing ceasefire negotiations. Clearly still more work to be done there to reach a deal, but also more work to be done on the humanitarian front. The UN Security Council acknowledging that Israel has made some efforts when it comes to allowing more aid into the Gaza Strip, but saying a lot more still needs to be done. We know from Prime Minister Netanyahu, he said the port of Ashdod would be open to humanitarian supplies and the Erez checkpoint in the north of the Gaza Strip would also be opened. We don't know yet if either of those things have happened. We've seen an increase in the number of trucks going in, but aid agencies say those trucks aren't full, and therefore the amount of aid and food and medical supplies that are needed in Gaza still not getting to those who so desperately need it. So some progress on that aid situation, but not nearly enough. Some movement on the ceasefire talks, but no deal yet. Alex Kadia in Tel Aviv, reporting for DD India.
And updates now on Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russian missiles and drones destroyed a large electricity plant near Kyiv and hit power facilities in several regions of Ukraine on Thursday. A senior official at the company said the major attack completely destroyed the Tripsilska coal-powered thermal power plant near the capital. The substations and power generating facilities had been damaged in attacks on the regions of Odessa, in Kharkiv, Zaporizhia, Lviv and Kyiv. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin said Russia had been obliged to launch strikes in response to Kyiv's attacks on Russian targets.
Unfortunately, we observed a series of strikes on our energy sites recently and were obliged to respond. I want to emphasize that, even for humanitarian reasons, we did not carry out any strikes in winter. What I mean is that we didn't want to leave social institutions without power, hospitals and the like. But after a series of attacks on our power facilities, we had to respond.
Well, the UN nuclear watchdog chief Rafael Grossi said direct attacks against Zaporizhia nuclear power plant marked a major escalation of the nuclear safety and security dangers in Ukraine. Speaking at the special meeting of the agency's 35-nation Board of Governors on Thursday, Grossi called for maximum restraint to prevent a nuclear accident and ensure the integrity of ZNPP. He said Sunday's attack fortunately did not compromise nuclear safety in a serious way, but it would be irresponsible for us to assume future attacks will also not.
On Sunday, direct attacks against the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant marked a major escalation of the nuclear safety and security dangers in Ukraine, significantly increasing the risk of a nuclear accident. The most recent attacks, however, are a clear violation of the principles and have shifted us into an acutely consequential juncture in this war.
Well, the UN chief will meet with the UN Security Council next week. And Ukraine takes action to deal with the acute soldier shortage as its conflict with Russia grinds into its third year. Parliament passed a legislation on Thursday to simplify conscription, aiding an expected mobilization that could press hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian men into the battlefield. Ukraine has been suffering setbacks on the battlefield against Russia, a country with 3 times its population. The new measures should increase troop numbers by requiring men to update their draft data with authorities, boosting payments to those who volunteer, and letting some convicts serve. The bill requires President Zelensky's signature to become law. And Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has also expressed concern over deteriorating situation in Ukraine, saying Kyiv risks collapsing under Russia's offensive without U.S. support. Addressing the joint meeting of the U.S. Congress, Kishida warned about North Korea's nuclear program and exports of missiles supporting Russia's war in Ukraine. He asserted that Ukraine of today may be East Asia of tomorrow.
Russia's unprovoked, unjust, and brutal war of aggression against Ukraine has entered its third year. As I often say, Ukraine of today may be East Asia of tomorrow. The leadership of the United States is indispensable. Without U.S. support, how long before hopes of Ukraine would collapse under the onslaught from Moscow?
Well, Japan's Kishida addresses the U.S. Congress after U.S. President Joe Biden hosted him and Philippines President for a trilateral. Long simmering tensions between China and its neighbors took center stage at the meet, where three leaders pushed back on Beijing's stepped-up pressure on Manila in the disputed South China Sea.
The United States defense commitments to Japan and to the Philippines are ironclad. They're ironclad. As I've said before, any attack on Philippine aircraft, vessels, or armed forces in the South China Sea would invoke our Mutual Defense Treaty.
And South Korea's Liberal Opposition Party wins a landslide victory in the country's parliamentary elections, putting President Yoon Suk-yeol in a challenging position for the 3 remaining years of his term. In recent weeks, President Yoon is under pressure to address a number of issues, including rising food prices, a rapidly aging population, and an ongoing doctor strike. More on this report.
South Korea's Liberal Opposition Party has won a landslide majority in the country's general election to retain control of parliament. The vote is widely seen as a midterm referendum on President Yoon Suk-yeol, who has 3 years left in office. According to the National Election Commission, the Democratic Party was projected to take 175 of the 300 seats in the new assembly. A splinter Liberal Party considered allied with the Democratic Party was expected to take 12 seats. Yoon's People Power Party was set to win 108 seats. Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung expressed gratitude to voters.
I express my sincere gratitude to the people for supporting Democratic Party so that we could exceed our goal of gaining majority. The election result is not a victory for the Democratic Party, but a great victory for our people. The Democratic Party will do our best to respect the precious meaning contained in each vote cast by the people.
Meanwhile, People Power Party leader Hang Dong-hoon said that he will take full responsibility for the election results and step down. Prime Minister Han Duck-soo and other senior aides had also offered to resign. President Yoon was facing growing criticism, including from some members of his own party, for sticking to a hardline stance on a number of hot-button issues. Yoon's critics have accused him of failing to resolve livelihood issues such as soaring prices, refusing to quickly fire some top officials implicated in scandals, and lacking efforts to communicate with opposition leaders for policy coordination. Meanwhile, the doctors, all medical interns and residents are also protesting against Yoon's push to increase the yearly medical school admission cap by 2/3. This also set back Yoon's domestic agenda and weaken his grip on the ruling party. South Korea's foreign policy is likely to stay on its current course because Yoon's foreign policy is not based on populism. Aman Kumar Himangshu's report for DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Now. In a bid to provide a boost to economic growth in Peru, Congress approved a controversial proposal that will allow retirees to tap their saving accounts. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris to visit Arizona today. Scientists testing a robot named Spirit to walk on the moon.
Regional parties call the shots in the Northeast. Will local issues play high over national issues? What are the issues that matter in Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura and Manipur? On the Great Indian Election on Friday at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Khurana, and moving on, Perus Congress approved a controversial proposal that will allow retirees to tap their saving accounts that the country's financial regulator estimated could force pension fund administrators to sell some $7 billion in assets. The bill was passed with 96 votes in favor, 5 against and 5 abstentions. Over the past 4 years, lawmakers have approved 6 previous pension fund withdrawals worth some $24 billion in a bid to provide a boost to cash-strapped savers at a time of sluggish economic growth in Peru, once one of South America's star performers. Retirees with pension funds in Peru represent a minority. However, as about 7 out of 10 workers in the country are employed in the informal economy and do not contribute to retirement accounts. Pension fund administrators nonetheless invest around 60% of the savings they manage in local assets, mostly in government bonds. And cases and deaths from the dengue epidemic in Peru have more than tripled in 2024. The number of deaths from dengue fever and suspected cases rose to 117 on the 13th week this year. The authorities have approved an emergency decree with extraordinary economic measures to strengthen the strategy against the epidemic. The figures in Peru are alarming because the ability of the transmitting mosquitoes rose in reaching regions where dengue has not been detected before. And U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris will visit Arizona today, just days after the state's top court reinstated a law from 1864 criminalizing and banning abortions in nearly all circumstances. Abortion has become a central issue in the 2024 elections, and as Tony Waterman explains, the Biden administration is wasting no time in politically capitalizing on this latest extreme ban and laying the blame at Donald Trump's feet.
This trip to Arizona wasn't even on the vice president's schedule late last week, and now it is an official campaign event headlined as a fight for reproductive freedoms. Kamala Harris is visiting Tucson, which is Arizona's second largest city, and while there, she is expected to blast this state Supreme Court decision and blame former President Donald Trump, who appointed the conservative justices to the U.S. Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade 2 years ago, returning abortion access to the states. This 160-year-old law in Arizona, which existed before women had the right to vote and before Arizona was even a state, will be one of the most extreme abortion laws when it is reinstated in about 2 weeks. Doctors will face up to 5 years in prison if they perform an abortion. The only exception is to save the life of the mother, but there are no clear guidelines on what constitutes a medical emergency. And in other states with similar bans, doctors have refused to perform the procedure for fear of breaking the law, and in some cases, that has jeopardized the lives of women. Friday's trip to Arizona will be Harris's second in the span of a month, which is an indication of just how important this state is going to be in the 2024 elections. Out of all the battleground states, Joe Biden won Arizona by the thinnest margin in 2020, and current polls show him trailing behind his Republican rival, Donald Trump. Polls, though, also show that abortion is a top issue for voters, the vast majority of which support abortion access. So Democrats are hoping that this latest ban will galvanize voters, and Kamala Harris's trip is all about doing just that. Tony Waterman in Austin, Texas, reporting for DD India.
Well, Russia and Kazakhstan continue to battle record floods as rivers rise further. People across the Russian cities of Orenburg, Kurgan and Tyumen battle as water levels rise in the Ural and Tobol rivers. President Putin held a meeting with ministers and governors of the affected regions. Similar scenes are being witnessed across northern Kazakhstan. A state of emergency remained in effect in 8 affected regions of the country. Emergency workers have so far removed 8.8 million cubic meters of water from flooded areas. The deluge of meltwater has forced over 120,000 people from their homes in Russia's Ural Mountains, Siberia and Kazakhstan. And wildfires have ravaged parts of Villanueva in Guatemala, prompting the government to declare a natural disaster. According to the reports, dozens of fires are burning in forest areas and a major landfill site in the Villanueva area. Guatemala officials report over 200 people have sought medical attention after exposure to smoke from the burning landfill. President Bernardo Arevalo has said the vast majority of the fires are man-made. Well, in Florida, the storms brought down more than 10 inches of rain in parts of Tallahassee, prompting flash floods on roadways and the rescue of stranded people. Eyewitness video showed a road washed out from 2 fierce storms hit Tallahassee, Florida on Wednesday and Thursday. Some districts in the affected areas directed to close schools and urged people to avoid the flooded roads. Also, a trail of destruction was seen in many parts of the United States after a devastating tornado battered the region. Tornado damage to buildings, vehicles and trees after a tornado hit Louisiana and Alabama. Locals encountered a widespread damage when the tornado struck on that littered road with buildings' roofs partially ripped off, leaving more than 100,000 of residents without power.
We will provide more updates as time comes. Along with Lacombe, we will give.
Also in India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a meeting to review preparedness for the ensuing heat wave season. Prime Minister was briefed about the temperature outlook for the period from April to June 2024, including the forecast for the upcoming hot weather season, the likelihood of above normal maximum temperatures over most parts of the country, especially with high probability over central India and western peninsular India. Preparedness in the health sector was also reviewed. Prime Minister stressed upon the whole of government approach. He said that all arms of the government at central, state and district levels and various ministries need to work on this in synergy. Prime Minister also stressed upon awareness creation along with adequate preparation in the hospitals. He also highlighted the need for quick detection and putting out forest fires. And the controversial American sports figure O.J. Simpson has died of cancer at the age of 76. Simpson rose to fame on the football field and remained in the spotlight when he was accused of murdering his ex-wife and another man in 1994. Ira Spitzer reports from Simpson's hometown of San Francisco.
O.J. Simpson had a standout career as a running back in the National Football League from 1969 to 1979, followed by a successful foray into acting. However, he is best known for accusations that he stabbed and killed his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman in 1994 at her Los Angeles home. After Simpson was charged with the murders, he led police on a long, low-speed car chase around LA in a vehicle driven by his friend that was watched on TV by tens of millions of people at the time. Simpson was acquitted of the murder charges in a blockbuster televised criminal trial the next year. The differing reactions to the verdict between black and white Americans at the time exposed racial fault lines in American society. The trial took place in LA with a majority black jury just a few years after white police officers were found not guilty in the beating of black man Rodney King, which led to the LA riots. Simpson was, however, found liable for the wrongful deaths of his ex-wife and Ron Goldman in a civil trial just a few years later. Ultimately, Simpson would serve almost 9 years in prison after he was convicted of armed robbery in a separate incident in Las Vegas in the early 2000s. Reporting in San Francisco, Ira Spitzer for DD India.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. 3 shipwrecked men were rescued from a remote Micronesia island after they encountered problems with their boat and were stranded on the western Pacific island for over a week. The men were reported missing since 31st of March. After launching a coordinated rescue effort involving both the U.S. Coast Guard and the Navy, 3 stranded boaters were rescued. Aviation company Boeing says that the embattled airplane manufacturer is focusing on rebuilding trust after a series of safety incidents have shaken trust of the company and led CEO Dave Calhoun to announce he would step down by the year end. The executive said that Boeing worked closely with the airline and Australian government after a flight suffered a sudden mid-air dive and injured 50 people. Scientists are testing a robot named Spirit to walk on the moon, preparing the robot to walk and monitor the extreme conditions of the moon and Mars for future mission to space. The idea is to teach Spirit how to cope with difficult and changing terrains in the same way as humans do, such as walking from hard rocky surfaces to soft ground like snow or sand.
The idea is to teach Spirit how to cope. NASA put teams of robots working together on the moon.
Exhibition opens in Turkmenistan, showcasing artistry that highlights its legacy of culture. The exhibition includes more than 250 art pieces, including paintings, sculptures, jewelry, and many more. These works of art poetically glorify the beauty of our happy times, our traditions associated with the arrival of the spring holiday. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Election fever grips India, campaigning in full swing across the country. Notification for third phase to begin today. Indian Army conducted a training exercise of anti-tank guided missile firing at a super high altitude area in Sikkim. And India celebrates 4th day of Navratri, devotees offering prayers to seek blessings in the divine power.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibilities. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday 8 p.m. only on DD India.
As India decides in the world's largest election,
we help you feel the pulse of the nation.
I am Sakal Bhatt.
I am Shubhendu Ghosh.
This election season, join us on a journey of India.
Discover the colors of democracy. Watch Poll Pulse on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Khurana, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Iran says it wouldn't need to retaliate if United Nations had condemned a strike on Damascus. Asserts it won't be hasty. US speaks to Turkey, China, Saudi Arabia on avoiding escalation in West Asia. Israel says prepared and on high alert. Major Russian airstrikes destroy Ukraine's energy system. Putin says had to attack in response to Kyiv strikes. IAEA chief says Zaporizhzhia attacks risk shift in Ukraine conflict. O.J. Simpson, the controversial American sports figure, dies of cancer at 76. Football star was acquitted of killing his former wife and a friend in a 1995 case dubbed as trial of the century. And Russia and Kazakhstan continue to battle record floods as the rivers rise further, while wildfires create havoc across Guatemala. In India, Prime Minister reviews preparedness for heat wave related situation. And now let's get to the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. While notification for the election process on 94 seats in the third phase will be released on Friday, voting in the third phase will be held on the 7th of May. In the third phase, voting will be held for 94 parliamentary constituencies in 12 states or union territories. Starting from today, the last day of filing nomination for the third phase of elections is 19th of April. The seats for which voting is to be held in the third phase include Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Jammu and Kashmir, and others. Also, there will be a separate notification for the adjourned poll in Madhya Pradesh's Betul. Well, election season is at its peak in India, with parties organizing multiple public meetings as the first phase of voting is slated for the 19th of this month. In order to garner support for the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold rallies in Jammu and Kashmir's Udhampur and Rajasthan's Barmer and Dausa. Also, with the Lok Sabha elections nearing, political parties are ramping up their efforts to woo the voters, with leaders actively engaging with the public to garner support. Senior BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah will hold rally in Uttar Pradesh's Moradabad, while Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to hold rallies in Uttarakhand's Garhwal and Almora. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister and senior BJP leader Yogi Adityanath is busy campaigning with full vigour. On Friday, the minister will address public rallies in Meerut and Saharanpur to support various BJP candidates for the upcoming general election. And the opposition parties are also going all out to woo the voters. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge will hold election rallies in Kalaburagi and Bidar in his home state of Karnataka and seek support in favour of Congress candidates. Bahujan Samaj Party leader Mayawati will also campaign in Uttarakhand's Haridwar. Addressing a public rally on Thursday, Mayawati accused Congress of not implementing public welfare schemes during its government before 2014. Well, Arunachal Pradesh is a state from the northeast part of India. The state has Lok Sabha and Assembly elections in one go on the 19th of April. The state is also known as the land of dawn-lit sun because of its geographical position in the country as it receives the first sunlight. Arunachal Pradesh and its 86,000 voters get ready as India decides in 2024.
Arunachal Pradesh, also referred to as the land of the dawn-lit mountains, is the easternmost part of India and is first state of the country to witness the rising sun. Situated at the northeastern extremity of India, bordering Myanmar, China and Bhutan, this stunning region boasts an astounding variety of flora and fauna that are guaranteed to entice any traveller. Arunachal Pradesh's deep woods are home to more than 500 endangered orchid species. The region is beautiful with gurgling waterfalls, glistening rivers and foggy hills. The ancient Hindu epics like Mahabharata and the Kalika Purana both make references to Arunachal Pradesh. In the 2024 general elections in Arunachal Pradesh, 14 candidates are in the fray for the 2 Lok Sabha or lower house seats in the Indian Parliament, which will go to the polls on April 19 in a single phase. Besides the general elections to the 60 state assembly seats is also being held in this northeastern hill state on April 19. In the last state assembly elections, the Bharatiya Janata Party emerged victorious, bagging 41 seats. Arunachal Pradesh is spread over an area of over 83,000 square kilometers and has a total population of 1.38 million. Of this, 886,000 are registered voters, which includes over 437,000 male voters, more than 449,000 female, and 5 voters belong to the third gender community. During the 2019 general elections, Bharatiya Janata Party won both the Arunachal Lok Sabha seats, with incumbent Union Minister Kiran Rijiju emerging victorious in one. Besides BJP, the other key political players in Arunachal Pradesh state in northeast India are Indian National Congress, Janata Dal United and People's Party of Arunachal. As Arunachal Pradesh and its 886,000 voters go to the biggest electoral exercise this year, the votes will contribute in deciding the future of leadership in the country. Election Desk, DD India.
Well, as the election campaigning gaining momentum across the country, we get you more updates on this from DD India reporters on the ground itself. We get you Vishal Baristo from Rajasthan and Ritesh Ranjan from Chennai. Well, Vishal, my first question to you. What is the scene in Rajasthan as the voting will be held in 2 phases there? Prime Minister's rally also in Rajasthan today in Barmer and Dausa.
Well, a very good morning to you, Lipakshi. Yes, Prime Minister would be here in Rajasthan. This would be his 5th visit. Yesterday he was in Karoli and today he would be first doing an election rally in Barmer. Barmer is the largest constituency area-wise in Rajasthan, and he would be addressing the people there, and then he would come in Dausa in the evening and he would hold a road show. Now, both constituencies are quite interesting. Barmer, Jaisalmer is one constituency and it is a Jat stronghold. There is a triangular contest between BJP, Congress and independent candidate. Now, this independent candidate is a rebel from BJP. He is Ravindra Bhati from Shiv. He is MLA from Shiv. And he rebelled against his own party, and after winning the Legislative Assembly elections, he is now contesting the Barmer seat and he is drawing huge crowd. So both BJP and Congress, they are quite worried about the sudden rise of Ravindra Bhati. In the evening, he would be holding, Prime Minister would be holding a rally in Dausa. Dausa is a Meena stronghold. Meena, though they come come under the scheduled tribe category, but Dausa seat is a general seat. So it is not a reserved seat, but Prime Minister would be having quite a hectic schedule as far as Rajasthan is concerned. This would be his fifth visit to the state. So quite often Prime Minister has been raising the issues of Kashmir here in Rajasthan. And yesterday in Karoli, he attacked the Congress party and asked Mr. Kharge as to why he is objecting to his issue of Kashmir, when he raises the issue of Kashmir in Rajasthan. Rajasthan definitely has a connection with Kashmir because a lot of people, they achieved a martyrdom fighting against the terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir. So Prime Minister has been very vocal about the unity of the country, about the development of the country, and also about his vision of making India a developed nation by 2047.
All right. My next question to you, Ritesh. If you talk about Chennai South Lok Sabha constituency in Tamil Nadu is a political powerhouse renowned for its significant influence in politics. It has a diverse demography, remains a crucial constituency of Tamil Nadu. What is the scene there?
Well, South Chennai has become a very much, important constituency because Tamilisai Soundararajan, have left the lieutenant governor post and contesting here from BJP's ticket, and that is what is making very much important this constituency. South Chennai Tamilisai Soundararajan is not a new face for Chennai and Tamil Nadu because she was here. She was BJP Tamil Nadu BJP president for more than 5.5 years. And she has after that she has become governor for Telangana, and this is what is making her famous because people are very much curious in South Chennai that why she left this governor post, which was very convenient for her. She could enjoy the power, but why she left that post and coming to this election, fighting this election. That is what is making very people curious in South Chennai, and that's a common question is been asked to Tamilisai Soundararajan, and she's always very nicely she's answering to the people that I belong to you, I wanted to serve you, I wanted to meet you directly, communicate with you directly, and that is why I have left that, and I'm coming to fight this Lok Sabha elections, and there are many reasons. Also behind that, South Chennai is an emerging, constituency in, within the city, you can say for BJP. And that is why it is one of the reasons Tamilisai Soundararajan has been, given ticket to fight from South Chennai.
All right. Vishal, could you tell us what are the major factors influencing the voter sentiment and the decision making in this state in this election cycle?
Well, Pakshi, when we talk about Rajasthan, there are 25 seats up for grab, and the elections would be held in two phases. First phase goes to poll on the 19th of April and the second phase on 26th of April. Last time BJP was the winning party and it secured 24 out of 25 seats. But this time there is a keen contest between Congress and BJP in some pockets of the state, mainly Shekhawati and Western Rajasthan. So the issue is that BJP has won the Legislative Assembly elections, outnumbering Congress party and dethroning the Gehlot government in Rajasthan. So BJP is claiming that people of the state have already voted for BJP, and that is why they are in quite an upbeat mood. And then they have the star campaigner, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has been vigorously campaigning in Rajasthan for the party candidates, and Prime Minister is time and again asking for 400 plus contribution from across the country and 25 seats, all he wants in the state. And the basic issue here is drinking water, which Prime Minister in Karoli's rally said that we have sorted out the drinking water issue in at least 21 districts of the state by signing an agreement with the neighboring state of Haryana under the Eastern Rajasthan Canal project. And it has happened because we have government both in Haryana and Rajasthan, and that is the result of a double-engine government. And he is time and again asking the people to vote for BJP because BJP get things going. There has been issue of the drinking water for a very long time in Rajasthan, and he also referred to the southern states that states are fighting for the river waters, but they have not achieved any, not reached on any conclusion. But if you have government, same government in both state and center and also in the adjoining state, then things become quite easy. So these are the issues that the Prime Minister has been raising time and again. The issue of Kashmir, as I referred, is there. The issue of drinking water and also water through tap connection is there.
All right. Also, Ritesh, if you could tell us what are the main issues that candidates are focusing on in these Chennai elections?
Well, in Chennai election, you're going to say in all over Tamil Nadu, after AIDMK has left the NDA alliance, we have, Tikoniya Mukavla in Tamil Nadu. And here, BJP is trying to hype up the corruption of DMK, issue here in, and that is what a major here. And that is what is a major thing here. And I can say, this Prime Minister in his recent visit and Tamil Nadu state, BJP state president is also focusing on these two things. That is what is corruption. Because most recently, Tamil Nadu BJP state president Annamalai many audio clips which has been talking about corruption of DMK. So these kind of things, and then among youth, Annamalai is very much popular, and he's saying that Tamil Nadu government is not serious about drugs, and that is another thing here. BJP is trying to make up a big.
All right, I think we're facing a difficulty in getting Ritesh there. Thank you so much, Vishal and Ritesh, for giving us those information. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. The Indian Army conducted a training exercise of anti-tank guided missile firing at a super high altitude area in Sikkim. Missile firing detachments from mechanized and infantry units of the entire Eastern Command participated in the training exercise. The training exercise encompassed comprehensive continuity training and live firing from different platforms on moving as well as static targets depicting battlefield conditions. India celebrates the 4th day of Navaratri. The temples recited prayers to Goddess Durga, while a large number of devotees gathered to offer prayers and take part in the morning prayer to commence the 4th day of the 9-day Hindu festival of Navaratri. And still to come on DD India News Hour. 7th round of negotiations for the India-Peru trade agreement took place in New Delhi. In tennis, Indian women's tennis team beat Chinese Taipei 2-1 in its third Billie Joe King Cup 2024 Group 1 tie on Thursday. We'll tell you more ahead. And we'll show you unique visuals of celebrations by players and supporters marking the victory of Copa del Rey title after 1984.
As India decides in the world's largest election,
We help you feel the pulse of the nation.
I am Sakal Bhatt.
I am Shubhendu Ghosh.
This election season, join us on a journey of India.
Discover the colors of democracy. Watch Poll Pulse on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana and on to some business news now. The 7th round of negotiations for the India-Peru trade agreement took place in New Delhi, India from April 8 to April 11th. The discussions involved understanding priorities and concerns of each other and ensuring that the negotiations are rooted in mutual respect and benefit. In this round of negotiations, discussions encompassed across the chapters, which included trade in goods, trade in services, movement of natural persons, rules of origin, technical barriers to trade and others. Around 60 delegates together from both sides participated in the negotiations. In the last 2 decades, the trade between India and Peru has increased from $66 million in 2003 to around $3.68 billion in 2023. The trade agreement under negotiations shall play a pivotal role in future collaboration in various sectors, creating avenues for mutual benefit and advancement. The next round expected in June 2024 to ensure that outstanding issues are resolved before the two parties meet again. And the yen struggled to break away from a 34-year-old low on Friday and was headed for a weekly decline, while the dollar hovered near a 5-month high alongside U.S. Treasury yields as traders heavily scaled back bets for a slew of U.S. rate cuts this year. The euro was eyeing its sharpest weekly fall in about 4 months, pressured in part by resurgent greenback and expectations that the European Central Bank could begin easing rates in June, likely ahead of the Federal Reserve. Well, the European Central Bank kept the interest rates unchanged after its ruling rate-setting meeting in Frankfurt on Thursday. The 3 key interest rates are still hovering at historically high levels of above 4%. It is the 5th time in a row that the ECB has left interest rates unchanged since last October. The Governing Council of the ECB considers that the key ECB interest rates are at levels that are making a substantial contribution to the ongoing disinflation process. And FTX's Sam Bankman Fried has appealed his conviction and 25-year sentence for fraud. Bankman is facing the prospect of spending much of his adult life behind bars for stealing $8 billion from customers of the now bankrupt FTX cryptocurrency exchange he founded. The appeal, however, could take years. Well, you're watching DD India News and time now for some sports news. The Indian women's tennis team beat Chinese Taipei 2-1 in its 3rd Billie Joe King Cup 2024 Asia-Oceania Group 1 tie in Changsha, China on Thursday. Rutuja Bhosale won the singles double while the duo of Pratna Thumbare and Ankita Raina prevailed in the doubles contest. India currently placed 3rd in Pool A following 2 wins and a loss in 3 outings. Meanwhile, China and South Korea are 1st and 2nd after winning all their 3 matches so far. The top 2 teams in the 6th-team Asia-Oceania Group 1 competition will win promotion to the playoffs, while the bottom 2 teams will be relegated to Group 2 in 2025. India will next take on Korea on Saturday. In IPL, Lucknow Super Giants will take on Delhi Capitals on Friday in match 26 of the Indian Premier League 2024 in Lucknow. Lucknow Super Giants have made a flying start to their IPL 2024 campaign, winning 3 out of their first 4 matches. Their only loss came in the season opener. In stark contrast, the Delhi Capitals are languishing at the bottom of the points table. They have won just 1 out of their 5 matches so far. Delhi will rely heavily on their opening duo of David Warner and Prithvi Shaw to provide a solid start. Tristan Staub's explosive batting has been a bright spot, but the team will also need support from their bowlers. Meanwhile, Mumbai Indians defeated Royal Challengers Bengaluru by 7 wickets in IPL 2024 on Thursday. Mumbai Indians won the toss and skipper Hardik Pandya opted to bowl first. Bengaluru managed to reach to 196 for 8 despite Jasprit Bumrah's 5-wicket haul, while Faf du Plessis made 61 of 40 balls. Rajat Patidar hit 50 of 26 balls. Towards the end of Bengaluru's batting, Dinesh Karthik made a 23-ball unbeaten 53-run cameo to take RCB to a competitive title. Well, thousands of supporters crowds the banks of the river Nervion as athletic Bilbao players celebrated after winning their 24th Copa del Rey. The Athletic supporters takes to the streets in celebration after Athletic Bilbao beat Mallorca on penalties last Saturday, marking the victory after 1984. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook X, formerly known as Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.